Were you or your family, were you affected by the financial meltdown, the recession?
2008 collapse, so I lost my job, I lost my house, I lost my car, everything. And ultimately, that is what led my family then into the military.
All your mothers and your brothers and your sisters and your fathers and everybody walking this land, no matter your race, your creed, your tribe, whose nation you defend, with open hearts, open minds, lend a helping hand each time to the mothers and the brothers and the sisters and the fathers, everybody walking this land.
Jeg la ut på denne reisen gjennom mitt gamle fedreland for å finne ut hvorfor mine landsmenn har blitt så innmari redde, mistroiske og rasende på hverandre. Og for å prøve å forstå hva denne frykten og dette raseriet gjør med landet mitt. I løpet av denne reisen har det blitt stadig mer tydelig for meg at bak den ramponerte kongressbygningen, alle opptøyene og de destruktive konspirasjonsteoriene, så ligger det faktisk en dyp sorg. En sorg som har lagt seg som et dystert teppe over hele dette landet, og som skaper en stemning som ikke ligner på noe jeg har opplevd her i USA før. Og en av mine aller nærmeste i livet vet litt om hvor den sorgen kommer fra.
Det er så fint da. Nå skal vi møte broren min, Thomas Seltzer, og han bor her i solfylte Orange County, dette området mellom Los Angeles og San Diego. Ganske republikansk område, ikke oppkalt etter hudfargen til forrige republikanske presidenten, men etter appelsinlundene som definerte området her back in the day. Og jeg er veldig glad i broren min, så nå gleder jeg meg til å se den gamle rakkeren. Seems it never rains in Southern California. Der er han, ja. Hei, Brettaren. Hei.
Long time no see.
Godt å se deg.
Ja, godt å se deg også. Ja.
Det er broren min.
Det er lillebroren. Sneipen. Ja, går det bra? Ja, kjempefint.
Broren min og jeg flyttet fra Wisconsin til Nesodden med familien på 70-tallet. Men Per Michael, eller Mike som han kalles, fant seg aldri helt til rette i Norge, og bestemte seg for å flytte tilbake til USA da han fremdeles var tenåring.
This is my COVID cave. This is where I work.
This is your home. Her hjemmekontor.
This is all my gold jewelry making equipment.
I am saying he's a gold digger.
No, I'm a gold digger. I'm just looking to marry rich. Like everybody else in California.
Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke niggas. Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke niggas. Get down, girl, go ahead, get down. Get down, girl, go ahead.
Where are we heading to?
It's called San Onofre Surf Beach, and it's the epicenter for American surfing.
The beach we're going to surf at is actually on the military area.
It is Pendleton Marine Corps base. It has 55,000 active Marines on it right now.
Wow. And there's also two huge boobs over there. What's that?
That's called the Dolly Parton Memorial.
Really? That's her mausoleum?
I think so, yeah. That is the nuclear plant right there.
And right on the beach?
Yes.
Vi fikk veldig forskjellige liv i hvert vårt land, broren min og jeg. Men vi har heldigvis hatt veldig god kontakt i alle disse årene, og gjennom livet hans så har jeg fått følge utviklingen i USA på nært hold.
So, beach in California, the American dream.
Absolutely.
You've come a long way, brother, from Follo.
That's right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, at an early age, it was obvious, or apparent at least to me, that you didn't want to spend your life in Norway. What brought you back to America?
I think when we first moved to Norway, I think there was a lot of hostility towards Americans. You know, we were pretty much blamed for the Vietnam War. Scandinavians, their exposure to U.S. was pretty much Gunsmoke and Dallas, you know, a TV show. Kind of a stereotype of what Americans were supposed to be like. And I think we were this very normal American people in a very normal family. But there seemed to be like this undertone of a jealousy or an envy or a lot of emphasis on that you had to basically adhere to the janteloven. Like you couldn't be different, you couldn't be special, you couldn't talk about who you are, you couldn't really be an individual, you had to fit more into the norm of society.
That sounds like an old guy thing to say.
Spoken like a true fact.
Helt siden han flyttet tilbake til USA i 1983 har broren min virkelig stått på for å sikre seg sin del av den amerikanske drømmen. Han har jobbet i krevende og tidvis farlige yrker, blant annet med kommersielt havfiske i Alaska og oljeleting i Rocky Mountains. Etter hvert startet han opp sitt eget lånemeglerfirma og gjorde god karriere med å formidle boliglån i Oregon. Men i likhet med veldig mange andre middelklasseamerikanere skulle både livet og drømmen hans bli revet i filler da finanskrisen rammet USA i 2008.
Blir det haraball? This area was one of the areas that got hit very hard too in the recession.
What happened?
Well, basically the economy just stopped. We went from boom town to ghost town in a matter of about 90 days. It was a very violent transition. Then all of a sudden the writing was on the wall. It just, everything started to crumble and okay, what's going to happen to me? You know, what's my next step? So this is the old neighborhood where I used to live. This is a middle-class neighborhood. When I moved into this, I thought this is the American dream. To live in a really nice house and nice neighborhood, have a very good job, working in the financial sector. And
because that was your job, was as a mortgage broker. You're the guy who provides people with home loans.
Home loans, correct. Right.
Business wasn't that good in that sector, I can imagine.
No, it all of a sudden stopped. Yeah, this was my home right here.
There it is.
That was the home that I lost. This is the first time I've been in this neighborhood since the day that I walked out of it. I'd been paying down on that house for years to try to keep my payment as low as possible and to someday own it without having any debt on it. All that money I put into it was just stripped right out of my pocket. And
you want to stop out here so we can...
I don't really want to stop here.
Why not?
It just makes me really angry. So this neighborhood here, 80% of the houses in here were in foreclosure within 2 years.
What did that do to people? People must have just lost their minds. I would be terrified.
Yeah, for myself, I would say I was the most scared I'd ever been.
So did you blame yourself?
I did. I did for a long time until I figured out that I wasn't the only person in that situation. Police officers to contractors to accountants, doctors, attorneys, everybody got devastated by it. It was like somebody pulled a pin on a hand grenade and threw it right into your life and everything exploded.
There must have been tragedies.
Yeah, there was a lot of tragedies, or a lot of people killed themselves here. A lot of people who had, let's say, life insurance for their kids and their wives would find a way to kill themselves in what seemingly would be, let's say, a sports accident, like taking your kayak and going off of a waterfall, or riding your mountain bike out in front of a truck, something that appeared to be an accident.
People did that to save their families from living on the street.
Correct.
Desperasjonen som broren min beskriver, har amerikanerne følt på før. Etter børskrakket i 1929 ble store deler av USAs befolkning kastet ut i dyp fattigdom og håpløshet. For å hindre at dette skulle skje igjen, innførte daværende president Franklin Roosevelt strenge reguleringer på bank- og finansvesenet. Men i 1999 ble dette lovverket fjernet, og med et pennestrøk ble amerikansk økonomi gjort om til et gigantisk pyramidespill. I 2008 sprakk bobla, og trillioner av dollar som amerikanske familier hadde investert i boligene sine forsvant. Mer enn 10 millioner hjem ble overtatt av banker, og det på brutalt vis. Mange familier mistet både huset og det de hadde betalt ned på lånet, mens den samme finansindustrien som hadde skapt krisa, ble den store vinneren når statlige redningspakker skulle deles ut. En som vet mye om hva denne krisen gjorde med amerikanere, historiker Thomas Frank.
Hey, come on in. How are you?
How are you, Thomas?
I'm great. This is my wife, Wendy. Edberg. Hey, Wendy. The Norsemen are here. So there's two important things. One is just the straight up economic hardship of it, which hits everybody. And then you have the bailouts. And the bailouts are an effort to revive the economy and to stave off Great Depression too. But the way they are understood in America is as just the most incredible act of economic corruption. There's a bailout for the guys on top, and these guys are never held responsible. They're never put on trial. Nobody goes to prison. They don't even get fired.
They got a big bonus.
They
got all these tax dollars.
There were bailouts in the 1930s also, but what makes it different is that there were also bailouts for ordinary people. So Franklin Roosevelt set up these programs to make sure people didn't lose their homes. All of these, social welfare, the welfare state as we know it today.
Socialist in nature, but what you have now after 2008 was socialism for the
Socialism
richest.
for the guys on top. So it's obviously no consequences for the powerful, whereas we, the ordinary people, have to pay the price. The consequences are A, this terrible recession, and B, this complete destruction in people's faith in government at the same time. I think anybody who was in that situation, including myself, there's a certain amount of pride in that, not being able to take care of yourself, have to rely on other people.
A certain amount of shame.
And yeah, there's a certain amount of shame involved in that too. It's like what happened to my dream. It was like the truth came out in a big lie. My heart was broken because everything I believed in, I got cheated on.
Jeg tror ikke bare det var brutter'n sitt hjerte som ble knust. Jeg tror at Amerikas kollektive hjerte gikk i stykker i denne enorme tragedien. Vi merket jo finanskrisen i Norge også, men jeg tror det er vanskelig for nordmenn å fatte hvor store konsekvenser den fikk for folk her i USA. Som for vår gamle familievenn Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Look at you.
It's been a while.
I know.
Christmas for 5-6 years ago.
Possibly.
least.
It's been, a while.
Someone said you have a birthday today.
Oh, yeah, I do. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
These are beautiful. Oh, very nice. Well, all right. Well, welcome.
So it's
Pretty bare.
pretty bare, huh?
Getting ready to move. Yeah.
So is this set up now for open house for the realtor?
Yeah, yeah, just to show it.
So how have you been?
Been okay?
Some changes?
Very much so.
What's happened?
Recently? Sorry. Recently divorced. And selling the house. And both the kids have moved. So it leaves just me. Very different. Very different. But okay. Yeah. Thanks.
New beginning.
Very much a new beginning. Yeah.
You've moved house before, though.
Yeah.
You, Robert, you lost your home in the recession, right?
We did. And that was hard too because that was super home. That was the only thing my kids knew is home. Yeah, it was really scary because then what? Yeah, you lose your house, then what? That was hard.
So here I am with two people very close to me and people I care about a lot. And, you know, during the recession, you both lost your homes.
Yes.
Did you ever talk about it at that time? Were you...
I don't know. I don't know if you and I ever talked about it.
No, I think I just talked to Robert about it. You know, it's not like something you publicize.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shame and to walk away, let's say, from all of your equity that you had in the house. I was in the same boat. Moved into that house with a huge down payment that's just vaporized.
No escape?
Yeah, there's no escape. It's like COVID where all of a sudden everything shuts down and there's no other opportunities.
Did you have a job at that point?
Yeah, I have been at the tower since 2005, so I'm still there.
And it's a very beautiful theater in downtown Bend. It's
Yeah,
very
Performing Arts Theater.
So you kept your job throughout the entire meltdown. And how about Robert?
No, he did not. Yeah, I'll never forget the day. I was at work the day that he got laid off. Yeah, I was in the theater and he walked through the theater.
What did he say?
Something on the lines of highest paid employee, and they're cutting jobs, and so they can survive. That's how businesses survived.
What went through your mind?
I think the kids are probably the first thing you think about. You know, it's like, oh wow, you know, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do it? You know, and you make do. You cut back. Where can you do? What can we do without? Where can we get? And do you dare cut health insurance for your family so that you can survive?
You cut health insurance?
There were lots of years we didn't have health insurance, none of us. And then you go, well, you know, you have a child that's sick, what do you do? And you weigh, it's like, well, I've got medical insurance and it's really expensive every month, or a child that may get sick every 3 months.
You have to gamble.
And you do, yeah, you do. And I have 2 kids that needed braces. What do you do with that? That is not cheap. So you get creative. You absolutely reach out and you get creative. We found a orthodontist that would let us pay half of the dental, half of the orthodontics, if our children volunteered and did volunteer work in our community to make up the other half.
We're bordering on the term child labor here. You know, kids have to work to pay for their own dental health care. That's not very 21st century. That's Charles Dickens stuff.
So we did that even younger. So outdoor school is expensive. And each child would be responsible to be able to pay their own way to go. So the kids volunteered and did a lot of labor. They even worked at the dump. They picked up garbage
At the
dump.
garbage dump?
Yeah, at like 7 and 8 years old. Yeah, good times.
8-year-old kids shouldn't be working at the garbage dump to pay for school stuff, to pay for dental health care.
But those were the choices we had. It was horrible. It was horrible. But we did it. But we did it. You know.
What you've been through the last, from the recession and up till today, do you think that's changed the way Robert views the world? How?
I think it's made him angry. It's different, isn't it? He wasn't like that when we got married.
What made him change?
Hard times, maybe. He's very proud and always wanted to take care of his family, always. So
When he wasn't able to?
Yeah, it hits hard. Hits hard. Yeah.
But what does it say on your bracelet? Your kids gave you a bracelet for Mother's Day?
For Mother's Day.
What does it say?
It says, "You fucking got this." And I have been wearing it every day since. So when I'm struggling and I don't know what the hell tomorrow's gonna bring, it's like, I got this. I got this. Yeah.
Good luck, Lisa.
Thanks.
You fucking got this.
I fucking got this. Yeah, I do.
Baby, I'm not afraid of hard things. No, I'm not afraid of hard things. Baby, I'm...
For millioner av amerikanere ble livet i disse årene en regelrett kamp for tilværelsen. Og mange tok til gaten i protest for å kreve endringer. Det venstreorienterte grasrotopprøret Occupy Wall Street tok et kraftig oppgjør med bankenes grådighet og økonomisk urettferdighet. Men misnøyen ga også liv til en annen politisk bevegelse.
Okay, so you're at this moment in 2008 where the laissez-faire deregulatory philosophy has fallen flat on its face. The Republican Party is massively discredited. And about, a month into Barack Obama's administration, you have this guy on TV. This guy, his name is Rick Santelli, and he's a commentator for CNBC, which is a financial news network here in America. And he goes out on the floor of the Chicago Board of Trade and he's like yelling on live TV about how awful this is, how we're bailing out the losers and we're asking ordinary people to pay for their neighbor's mortgage, and he turns to the traders around him and they're all with him and they're all yelling, right?
This is America. How many of you people want to pay for your neighbor's mortgage that has an extra bathroom and can't pay their bills? Raise their hand. How about we all... President Obama, are you listening?
He says that they are a cross-section of America. They're the silent majority. And they aren't, of course. These are, Wall Street in the flesh. Mm-hmm. These are commodity traders. So within, I think, 2 weeks, there was a real protest calling itself the Tea Party. I wrote about it the next day in the paper, and I made fun of it. But here's the thing. It caught on. It's a lot of people with signs making fun of Wall Street, attacking the bailouts. It appears to be a legitimate grassroots protest against the powerful. But if you actually look at what they're demanding, it's always about punishing the little guy. We don't want to bail out, our neighbors. We don't want our neighbor to get out of hard times when we ourselves have to endure them. We want them to be punished.
For Tea Party var velferdsgoder og krisehjelp til hverdagssliterne det samme som å sy puter under armene på samfunnets snyltere. Bevegelsen protesterte mot det de mente var overdreven offentlig pengebruk, og var ikke minst sterkt kritiske til president Barack Obama og hans helsereform. I stedet krevde Tea Party mer av den samme økonomiske politikken som hadde kjørt landet i grøfta.
It is calling for more deregulation of the banks, cutting taxes. It's anti-government. So this is the craziest thing. This is like they're living through the greatest failure of laissez-faire capitalism that we are ever going to see, and they're demanding what?
More of it.
deregulation, lower taxes. They're demanding more of it, yes.
Tea Party-bevegelsen ga en helt ny giv til den amerikanske høyresiden, som lå med delvis brukket rygg etter Obamas store valgseier. Og det som startet som et opprør mot høye skatter og sløsing med offentlige midler, utviklet seg til å bli en gedigen koalisjon av misfornøyde, hvite, konservative velgere som forentes i ideen om at eliten i Washington var i ferd med å ødelegge det ekte Amerika.
You mentioned going to a Tea Party protest where there are a bunch of people on the stairs of Congress screaming, "Stop the destruction of America."
Yeah.
Was that sort of foreboding in a way when you look at what happened here on January 6th?
One of the things that always was remarkable about the Tea Party protests were that they were very neat. Now they would use like outrageous rhetoric, but that's typical in America. People do that. So I was surprised on when January 6th happened because it was a lot of the same. It looked like a lot of the same people. I don't know if it was the same individuals, but something had changed in the intervening years. The guys I saw would never do that.
What changed?
Trump, but everything has also gotten worse, in those years for people like this. The inequality continues. Their heroes nothing ever changes for them. And there's also been a heightening of the rhetoric and a heightening of the fantasies, all the sort of ridiculous things that they believed in the Tea Party movement. They now believe even more ridiculous things, silly conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Everything has gotten has intensified much, much more.
And in 2022, I'm going to blow away the Democrats' socialist agenda.
Ja, jeg har alltid ledd av dette evige gnålet om at marxist-kommunist-sosialistene hvert øyeblikk skal overta USA. Men nå det ikke så moro lenger.
I'm Eric Greitens, Navy SEAL. Join the MAGA crew until we save our country.
Altså at voksne folk driver og tøffer seg med våpen på den måten, synes jeg både pinlig, barnslig og et solid brudd på den erkeamerikanske tradisjonen om vettig omgang med våpen. Men mest av alt det skummelt at åpenbare voldstrusler har blitt vanlig i amerikansk valgkamp. På meg virker det som om frykt har gått fra å være et politisk virkemiddel til å bli selve kjernebudskapet i politikken.
Yeah, the politics of fear is what drives a lot of decisions in the United States. I think that in some ways has been the gun industry's greatest sales tool. They said Obama in 8 years was the best salesperson for guns in American history.
Why was that? How?
Because the polarized politics were that once Obama stepped in, he was going to start pushing anti-gun bills. And people panicked and they want to run out and grab as many guns as they can.
But that didn't happen.
No, it didn't happen. But it was pushed.
What du har for
noe? This is a 12-gauge shotgun. I have guns mostly just for sport and for hobby. And obviously a shotgun is a great self-defense gun in the home. This is what our grandfather had in the Navy.
Broren min og jeg har, som så mange andre amerikanere, vokst opp i et bevæpnet hjem. For det å eie våpen en grunnleggende del av amerikansk kultur, også for mange på venstresiden. Men når stadig flere våpen havner i hendene på stadig flere redde og rasende mennesker, tror jeg det grunn til bekymring.
America is right now the weakest it's ever been because people are so polarized, focusing on their own opinions about things rather than trying to come to the middle and decide, let's try to look for solutions rather than point the finger at, okay, you're the problem. But American politics has bred that mentality for years.
De siste årene har våpensalget skutt i været, og det nå flere privateide våpen enn det mennesker i dette landet. Jeg tror det er følelsen av utrygghet som gjør at stadig flere velger å bevæpne seg. Også grupper som tradisjonelt ikke har eid våpen.
So what's going to happen here tonight?
Tonight we have a group of women that are coming. We call it our Lone Star Ladies Gun Club. It's just a group of women that we're gathering together to get them training together so that they're not necessarily having to train alongside men, which can be a little bit intimidating sometimes. We're creating an atmosphere that is geared towards women, welcoming to them. You know, I have, my daughter gave me this lovely sticker, and I love it. And it's, you know, gun rights are women's rights. And I believe that.
How long have you been shooting guns?
Actually, just about a year and a half. So I got my first gun in 2020, once the protest started. I am single, and I didn't feel safe in my home, and was watching the news probably too much, and decided to get a firearm to protect me and my family.
Were they close to where you live?
No, but we had some demonstrations in some town squares, but just from watching the news and them getting out into the suburbs, I just wanted to be safe rather than sorry.
And I think that's why a lot of us are here, is because, you know, there does seem to be a feeling of unease and a lack of safety, and so it's kind of been incumbent upon us to get more involved and make sure that we provide our own personal protection.
Do you see America reuniting? Do you see this divide in America today? Do you see that?
Oh, most definitely, because this is unsustainable. I think we're on the verge of a revival, to be honest with you. So I'm very hopeful about the future, but I also think you need to be responsible and hedge your bets. And so if for some reason that doesn't happen, I need to take care of my family.
What would that revival look like, do you think?
I think that we're going to go back to some of the true American values that I think most people espouse to, but I do think that there's an agenda being pushed that tries to separate people. And I think that the worst thing that ever happened was 24-hour cable news. Night after night after night, you know, the same thing repeated. And they also know that if they keep repeating it, more people will believe it.
So conflict sales.
Oh, absolutely. So I think this is a media-driven crisis, to be honest with you. And this, if more people turned off the TV and just got out and talked to their neighbors, their friends, all that type of stuff, I think a lot of the division would go away.
The structure of American media is designed to set audiences against one another.
Dette er Matt Taibbi. Han er en av USAs mest kjente mediekritikere, og en av de ytterst få jeg vet om i dagens USA som nyter respekt på begge sider av det politiske spektret. Han har skrevet mye om medias rolle i polariseringen av USA, blant annet i boka Hate Incorporated.
A long time ago in the 70s and 80s, the commercial strategy of a company like CBS or ABC or NBC was to go for the whole audience. Because of the internet, the 24-hour news cycle, it's impossible to get the whole audience. So the new strategy is, let's pick a demographic and we'll dominate it. How do we dominate it? We're going to feed that demographic news that we know that they're going to like. And typically that involves giving them bad news about some group of people that they don't like. So for Republicans, Fox really mastered this first. Let's pick out suburban to rural, elderly to middle-aged people who have a lot of disposable income, and let's give them lots and lots of bad news about upper-class liberals and minorities and foreigners, and they will keep coming back. They'll keep watching. But now, on the other side, you see the same thing. If you're watching MSNBC, you're mostly getting negative news about middle Americans, people who follow Donald Trump. And this formula is designed to just increase the level of hostility between all those groups.
So how is this profitable?
You need to get people hooked on the experience of getting upset and getting angry. And they'll keep coming back. They're there for a group experience. It's very similar to sports. If you're rooting for one team, you want all the good news about your team and all the bad news about the other team.
Because hate and fear are they're addictive.
hate and fear are, some of the strongest things that you can possibly sell in media. And it's funny, Americans as a people, we generally have a lot of consumer awareness about things. We know a lot about what we eat. We know a lot about how safe or not our cars are, what's in cigarettes, but we don't really think about what we put in our brains all that much, even though it's, can be a very similarly destructive product. We are constantly asked to see each other as enemies and to not focus on the things that we have in common, I think in large part because the very wealthy and very powerful in this country, they would find it disadvantageous if people started agreeing on certain core issues, like the need for universal health care, more rational or equitable tax policy, that sort of thing. They just don't want to see that stuff happen, so it's better to have us fighting about it.
For amerikanerne står ofte ikke så langt unna hverandre som man kan få inntrykk av. Tvert imot mange av de såkalte kulturkrigene som splitter amerikanerne konstruert. Og det én ting amerikanerne slåss om, godt hauset opp av nettopp media, politikere og religiøse ledere, så det spørsmålet om selvbestemt abort.
Why are you here today?
I strongly believe that women should have the right to choose whether to be pregnant and whether to stay pregnant. And I'm worried for myself and for my daughters, and I want them to be able to always have that choice.
This is probably the most divisive topic in America today and for a long time.
It's violence against innocent human beings. That's not how we solve problems in a just society. Abortion is wrong and we need to end it.
As a feminist, and I just want to see a place where abortion is unthinkable.
Abortion is a women's right, not a man's right or not a law right. This is our decision, period.
The potential for violence in the whole country because of the divide is increasing on a regular basis.
Å se alle disse følelsene i spill, og vite at det nå mer eller mindre forbudt å ta abort i store deler av landet, ja, da det absurd å tenke på at selvbestemt abort ikke var veldig kontroversielt før langt ut på 70-tallet. For 50 år siden var nemlig ikke folk spesielt opptatt av abortsaken, og retten til selvbestemt abort hadde tverrpolitisk støtte langt inn i det konservative Amerika. Abortmotstand var egentlig en litt sær greie som var forbeholdt katolikker, hvorav mange faktisk var demokrater. Og i jakten etter å sikre seg en stabil velgermasse lette republikanske partistrateger etter en sak som kunne mobilisere den stadig voksende gruppen verdikonservative kristne evangelister. Den fant de i abortsaken, og på få år klarte de å gjøre abortmotstand nærmest synonymt med å være republikaner. Og siden 1980 har abortkampen vært den viktigste og mest eksplosive symbolsaken i amerikansk politikk.
This here today, is this sort of a battle for the soul or the future of America?
Yes, it is. And we're praying today that God will act to show his power, to bring down the spirit of death and to lift the shroud of abortion over our nation.
What is the end game of the pro-choice people, the pro-abortion people? Do they have some sort of bigger vision for America? What?
They hate God. They hate God. They hate Jesus Christ. They don't like the name. It's a curse word. So that's what their goal is, to take God out of America.
Are there dark or sinister or satanic forces at play to control America?
I'm glad you said that. Absolutely. You must know the Lord.
Altså, abortsaken for en perfekt cocktail av disse her kreftene som river og sliter i Amerika. Det kjønn, det klasse, det modernitet versus tradisjon, det vitenskap versus religion, det liksom, altså det alt i en sånn der perfekt, skikkelig eksplosiv håndgranat.
Where do you see America heading? Into darkness?
No, revival. Let me sing it. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, and goodness. The fruit of the Spirit is faithfulness, gentleness, self-control.
Really? Self-control?
Self-control.
I'm out of here.
I must say you're a better singer than a hornblower. That's a compliment. Nice meeting you guys. So take care and have a nice day.
God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We love you.
Thank you.
Ja, sånn har det blitt her i den amerikanske offentligheten. At de som blåser høyest i diverse kokohorn, er de som får komme på skjermen, sette dagsorden og dermed påvirke politikken. Og jo mer spillerom som gis til ytterliggående krefter, jo farligere blir politikken. Det er bare å høre på det vitnene i 6. januar-høringene forteller.
Then some people broke into my daughter-in-law's home, and my son has passed, and she's a widow, and has 2 kids, and so we're very concerned about her safety also.
They have had video panel trucks with videos of me proclaiming me to be a pedophile and a pervert and a corrupt and politician.
A lot of threats, wishing death upon me, telling me that I'll be in jail with my mother, and saying things like, "Be glad it's 2020 and not 1920."
Det å se at folk trues når de deltar i demokratiet, altså selve sjela til det amerikanske prosjektet, det er rett og slett for jævlig. Og en av de aller mest utsatte gruppene finner vi på høyresiden. De tradisjonelle republikanerne som blir utsatt for hets og trusler fra Trump-fløyen i eget parti.
Still in tune, basically. Still in tune. Listen, I went through a brutal campaign, right? They attacked my family, they attacked my kids, they attacked my wife, they photoshopped pictures of my wife and claiming she was, making obscene gestures, to the city versus, holding up a peace sign. They removed a finger. The allegations of corruption and backdoor deals and, which is in essence accusing me and everyone else on council of felonious activity, right? Being a felon, that would be a felony. It's brutal. So a lot of people, they don't want any part of that fight.
I'm Candace Valenzuela. I'm running for Congress, and I approve this message.
Is it dangerous to be in politics in America?
Sometimes it can be very dangerous, particularly if you're the type of person that some people feel strongly about being in power. I had the unfortunate experience of my opponent superimposing my face over rioting and looting. So there was my face floating in the air, and they were saying that I was going to let burglars into their houses and that I was going to let rapists into people's houses.
With friends like those, Texas families can't trust Candace Valenzuela to keep us safe.
In that time period, we'd heard from the FBI that there was an uptick in white supremacist activity in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Right, in this area.
Right, yes, where we live. And we had to grapple with the reality of what winning would mean for my family. And we were afraid that if I'd won, we would become targets.
Wow.
And it had gotten so bad that the week of the election, I actually moved my family out of the house for that week so that I know that they were somewhere else and that they were safe, just in case, again, I won.
So your family was in a safe house?
My family was in a safe house
nuts.
during the election and a few days afterward. And some folks said, "Are you sure that it's this dangerous? You might be overreacting." And then the January 6th insurrection happened. And we came to find out that some of the folks who flew into Washington, D.C. were people who would have been my constituents.
Would you have been in Washington, D.C. had you won?
Had I won, I would have been in the Capitol. And I saw members of Congress during that insurrection, people I'd known to work very hard for their constituents, worked very hard for democracy and to get people the support that they need. I saw them afraid for their lives. And it hurt.
Have you thought about going back to Norway?
Yeah, I've been given it a lot of thought. I think there's things about Norway that I remember that I really liked. It's a more organized, in some ways a lot more simplistic society.
How so?
Instead of being polarized and hating each other and living in the problem for 4 or 5 decades, they've set their differences aside and they say, let's figure out and focus on the solution. American politics essentially today is about creating as much conflict and as much hatred for the other party as possible to create essentially chaos so the people who are really making decisions can do whatever they want and brainwash everybody else into thinking that what they're really doing is to help the people.
Where do you see polarization? Where do you see America as a divided society? Do you see any healing to that divide?
I think America will heal from it. And I get the analogy I would use is if you took 2 fighters and put them in a boxing ring and they're both bred to hate each other for whatever reasons that they're told to hate the other person. Eventually they get to a point in the fight where they look at each other and say, why are we fighting? Our original country was based on unity, to be the United States instead of the divided states.
Det godt å se at broren min fortsatt har håp for dette landet. Selv jeg ikke like sikker lenger. Finanskrisas største tragedie at sinne og fortvilelsen som oppstod i etterkant ikke førte til noen forbedring, men i stedet ble brukt til å sette fyr på destruktive kulturkriger. For mange her i USA har byttet ut sunt politisk engasjement med raseri, identitetspolitikk eller regnspikka konspirasjonsteorier. Og da blir det lett å betrakte naboen som en fiende, i stedet for noen som sliter med det samme som deg selv. Samtidig snakker flere av dagens politikere og deres styrterike støttespillere stadig høyere om at demokratiet ikke lenger er et ideal, men tvert imot et hinder for deres versjon av Amerika. Jeg frykter at alle opptøyene og ikke minst angrepet på de folkevalgte i Washington DC bare var starten på noe større. Den første amerikanske borgerkrigen handlet i bunn og grunn om demokratiets framtid i USA. Det tror jeg også den kommende amerikanske borgerkrigen vil gjøre. Men denne gangen jeg ikke sikker på om demokratiet vinner.